What's up? Black men have to protect the black community from sexual perversion. Now, if you're a black man out there and you're trying to self-improve and you're trying to have a grounded identity in being black and learning more black history, learning how to organize with other black men, coming together to self-improve, to gain all those things around self-improvement and, learn black history, and also just build a community where we come together and we see the black community rise and see black men rise, but also just every aspect of self-improvement as far as eating healthier, working out, learning to become more financially literate, all those things. So if you're interested in that, the link for that will be in the comments of this video, in the description of this video, and click on my channel in the bio section. You'll see the link for that. I have a deep dive guide on all of those things, so check that out if you're interested. Now, one thing we have to protect our community from as black men is sexual perversion, and a lot of it that happens comes from black men. It comes from black men, so we have to gain control over that and push all that evilness out of the black community. And it's a heartbreaking thing when you see like there's the youth is affected by being hypersexualized or sexual perversion and sexual assault, all type of sexual abuse and even emotional abuse as well. And I think that in the black community we have to become more vigilant and more ruthless with getting that out of the black community, and just destroying anybody who's doing that, taking those people out, because that's something that really destroys the identity of people, and it destroys you being able to have functional relationships. Because I think that is something that we don't look at as, no, we look at it, but it's something that's just rampant because it's already kind of mixed in and mingled in with the hypersexualization in the black community and the degeneracy and the promiscuity. And so, and these are young kids that's getting introduced to this. And so the sexual perversion, a lot of the times happens in the black community because we have a hyper focus on sex and being sexual. So I think that even in my own life, man, I used to be, addicted to the websites and all these things and masturbation. And that's something that, I can be honest about. And I'm just letting you guys know that, being vulnerable about that, purely to let you know that it affects you. It's not something that's like, oh, it's just this and it's just that and you just do it and it's okay. And, like this is something that really affects people and it really affects the community. And this is why I think we see the family unity isn't where it should be. We're not really unified and coming together because everything's just focused around sex. No relationship is built around like reinforcing, like actually sticking together and building something outside of sex. Most relationships you see, how people are born out of things, a lot of times that comes from, sneaky links, friends with benefits, no type of true unity. It's just, oh, we got together because we wanted to have sex with each other, right? And I'm no saint, I'm not perfect, but I will say that I want to have a family. I want to have a good example of what a family should be, especially in the black community, because even in my daily life, you rarely see, good examples of that. So I would say that, every black man should strive to be that way. We should definitely strive to be that way. So I think that that's just the way that's the route we need to go. And it's something that doesn't just affect like your relationships, it affects you overall as a human being, as a man. And people don't really understand how much that plays into your creativity, your ability to be yourself, your ability to develop a relationship where you can be yourself. And it's not just, oh, she looked good, so let me just talk to her and, try to sleep with her as fast as I can, and then, think about it, bro. Like a lot of dudes have that mindset and then they get a girl pregnant, and a lot of girls have that mindset and they get pregnant, and then guess what? This girl don't care about family. This dude don't care about family. That girl probably gonna get an abortion. That dude probably, if she didn't get an abortion, he wouldn't be there, and he don't care about being a father. He can father kids, but he doesn't care about being present and raising that child. Because that's another thing, like Like, as men, don't give all the responsibility as far as raising the child and teaching the child character. Don't just give that responsibility all to the mom. I think as a man, as a black man, you should want to take most of that as far as character and uh uh developing like a character of somebody. Not just, oh, I'm gonna just take care of you and make sure you got food on the plate and make sure you got somewhere to stay. Don't be like that. Be a man that wants to actually raise your child and teach your child to be somebody, and play a part on who they become as a man or a woman. And that's the thing we have to protect and value. When you have a lot of men who are sexually perverted, that's where you get a lot of sexual crimes. And then on the other hand, it's a lot of women out there that's it's not as overt, it's more subtle and covert. It's a lot of women out there who are sexually perverted as well, and we have to get those women out of there and get those men out of there and get them out of the black community, because they're destroying the black community because they can't control themselves, and they're just hyper sexualized. And you know those are evil people, man. Those are evil people. And I think that we have to stop the gateway for those things. The gateway for those things is degeneracy, promiscuity, being sexually immoral. Those are the things that are the gateway for sexual perversion, and for people to not have a proper relationship with themselves and a proper identity in themselves. And I think that as I get older, I want to, I'm developing myself, and I'm trying to become as sexually disciplined as possible. And I want to find a woman. Obviously, I know nobody is perfect, but I definitely want to find a woman out there who isn't caught up on sex, and she has like a lot of confidence in herself, and like her whole life doesn't just revolve around sex, and just that lifestyle. It doesn't, she's not just about being out and being around a whole bunch of dudes and stuff, right? So that's the thing we have to focus on, man. Getting all of that out of the black community. It's your responsibility as a black man to protect your community, your family, your people from things like that, right? That's what we have to start speaking out against, and we have to start implementing that and putting that into action. And that's what we have to start doing, but not just in the community, in your individual life. If you're a man that, you struggle with, lust and looking at women, and, maybe being super promiscuous. And when I say promiscuous, man, I just pretty much mean like you don't actually look at the girl for what she is. You just look at her for her body. And I'm not trying to abstract. Like, you can't look at her for her body. You can't look at a girl for her body, because there's beautiful women out there, But I would say that you can't let that rule you, So that's pretty much all I got to say. Peace out.